I don't even remember when I was assigned to the squad. For the past few years, whenever a meteor comes down, they send one of us to check out the site. I don't care what the heck those things are or where they come from. The only thing that matters to me is that I do my job right. And my duty is to blast them.
Hey guys, I hope you liked the intro. Thanks for stopping by the channel or our website at stuckinthe90s.webs.com. My name's Killette and I'm really excited because today I get to talk about another awesome Sega Dreamcast game. This one is an arcade rail shooter that was brought over sometime in 2001 by Zycat, Ubisoft, and Sega themselves, and it's called Charge and Blast. Now the plot of this game is pretty simple. A meteor lands and you get a team of 3 different characters you can choose from, and you gotta fight all these mutated creatures that are coming out of this meteor to find out what's really happening and going on and find out what kind of threat's really there. I'm gonna jump right into the action. The first thing I want to talk about today are the controls. And the reason why I want to talk about the controls is how crazy they are in this game. You're using every single button on the Sega Dreamcast all at the same time. It takes a minute to get the hang of it, but it's definitely a blast when you get it. Your character moves on their own because it's a rail shooter, and you get a straight from right to left using the L and R triggers. You get to use the analog stick to lock on and aim at your different enemies, and then the face buttons are what you use to shoot. Each face button has its own different weapon. The X button has a homing torpedo, the Y button has a multi-shot, and then the B button has a single-shot cannon. After you select your weapon using one of the buttons, which you have to do every single time you shoot, your weapon charges. Then you use the A button to shoot. Now, you can shoot before your weapon's charged, but it does add a whole lot of oomph if you wait that extra second, and you really need it for those later bosses. The levels themselves are pretty awesome. I love them. You start out, you're in a city, you're fighting these crazy spiders, you're fighting moths, you're fighting all different kinds of stuff. You come up, and then the next level you get to go to is a beach. And you're fighting these dinosaur creatures, and while you're trying to fight those guys, and they take multiple hits to go down and they're shooting at you, there's flying eels that come and they'll bite and attach on you and eat you pretty much whole. Then after you beat that level, you move on into an underwater level, which is my least favorite level in the game. I think the colors are kind of monotone and the enemies themselves are really, really aggressive in that level. I'm not quite sure why. And you play through that fighting these different barracuda-like creatures. Then you go into another city, and you get to go through a desert, you get to fight more crazy creatures, you're fighting moths, you're fighting all kinds of awesome flying creatures. It's just really a blast. Now, the music in this game is one of my very few complaints. It is really awesome techno music, but it's repetitive. There's a woman that comes on, she'll tell you about energy cells and stuff like that. I like her, but some people think that she gets kind of repetitive herself. The graphics in this game, I like them. There's 3D destructible objects that'll tell you don't shoot the power generator, don't do this, or whatever. And you still can destroy them. And then the backgrounds way off in the distance are 2D bitmap images.
I will provide you with an energy
There's
cell.
all kinds of crazy bosses in this game, and when you first come up to a boss, the first thing you have to do is shoot down their shield generator.
Destroy the shield generator.
On the spider, which is the very first boss, the shield generator's on their heads. It's really not that hard. Next, you gotta fight a crazy Godzilla, and it's on his chest. And it's really hard because he's constantly ducking and bending, and he's coming closer and closer, but you just can't get a clear shot of it. And until you shoot down the shield generators, you can't make any hits at all on the enemy. And meanwhile, there's other smaller enemies flying at you and shooting all kinds of crazy stuff. For the underwater level, you gotta fight a hexapus. At least that's what they call it. It looks like an octopus to me. And his shield generator's on his butt, and he's constantly spinning around. In the next city, you gotta fight these giant worms, and even your helper that's there is having a hard time with them. So the final boss, I don't really want to tell you about because I've got to leave it a surprise. So that way you guys, when you play the game, you can really meet them. It's always exciting. I love finding out the new bosses. Now this game, I thought it's not super difficult, but the controls themselves take a minute to get the hang of. So it has a little bit of a steeper learning curve, but once you get the hang of it, it's really a blast. It starts you out with 2 credits. You can go into the options menu. There's a few different options. You can change it between easy, normal, and hard. You can bump yourself up to 3 credits. You can make your life gauge just a little bit bigger. And you can even change it over into first-person view, which I haven't tested out myself, so I don't know too much about it. There's also a couple other modes. There's a versus mode to play with your friends, and a time attack mode. In the time attack mode, I played a bit of it to see kind of what it was about, and it had the same exact storyline, only it timed you to see how long you could last, and you had 0 credits, so once you're dead, that was it. So I believe the time attack mode is just to see how far you can get and how long, to kind of add a little bit more of a competitive edge to the game. That's all really that I have to say about it. I definitely enjoy this game. I believe the graphics are really good. It's fast-paced. The action's fun, or the music's fun to get you into the action. The bosses are crazy with all the different crazy mutants and stuff like that. And I really enjoy this game. I wanted to tell you guys a bit about it today. I believe when I checked on eBay yesterday, it was only like $15, which isn't super expensive. So if you get an extra few dollars, it's one that I recommend checking out for a nice arcade experience. And we'll see you in the later. Thanks for stopping by at stuckinthe90s.webs.com.